And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is 10:06. Apologies for our late start. We were having technical difficulties, and we are going to work through them. We have a good day ahead of us. So, my name is Mike Walsh, and I am now calling the meeting of the Advisory Commission on Charter Schools to the State Board of Education as beginning. So, let's again and find my spot here. So members of the public who wish to make public comment may do so in person or by calling into the meeting. Public comment will be limited to 1 minute per person for each item. Members of the public wishing to make public comment in person should sign up on the sign-up sheets located in the tables in the back of the boardroom. If you require translation, we do have someone available. California Department of Education staff will call up members of the public by name when it is time to take public comment. Individuals should form a queue behind the microphone at the back of the boardroom and wait for further direction from department staff prior to making public comment. Members of the public wishing to dial in for public comment should view the live stream of the meeting. The number and access code will be provided at the start of public comment for each item. Prior to making public comment, callers who are watching the meeting live webcast should make sure that the volume on their computer is muted to avoid echoing sounds during the call. When it is a caller's turn to make public comment, the caller will hear a voice announcement that says that they are unmuted. Another announcement will be made when a caller's time for public comment has ended. To call in for public comment, dial 717-908-1926 and use access code 11-66083#. We are now at the flag salute, and Commissioner Brazil has agreed to lead us in the pledge.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Brazil. So I'd like to welcome everyone here in the room and those watching the live stream to the April meeting of the State Board of Education Advisory Commission on Charter Schools. Want to welcome and thank both State Board liaisons and State Board of Education members Sharon Olkin and Vice President Cynthia Glover Woods, who are here in the room, even though Sharon stepped out for just a minute. All right, I thought it was an illusion. All right, she'll be right back. Going to also ask each of the commissioners to share who they are and what they represent. We'll begin to my right and work our way around, and then we'll go back to those of you who are joining us on Zoom, Commissioner Jones and then Commissioner King, in that order. So we'll begin again to my far right.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Matt Taylor, representing charter schools.
Helio Brazil, Superintendent of Key School District and representing the Superintendent.
I am Mike Walsh, representing governing boards.
Good morning, Susan Park, representing the State Superintendent.
Good morning, Andrew Crow, representing parents of charter school students.
And then we have two joining us online, Commissioner, go ahead, Commissioner Jones, and then Commissioner King.
Good morning, Erica Jones, representing teachers.
Good morning, Derek King, representing charter schools.
Thank you very much. And Commissioner Fennell is absent today. So moving along, review and adoption of meeting notes. I will call for a motion and a second for the adoption of the meeting notes from February 4th, 2025.
So moved.
Commissioner Brazil moves.
Second, Commissioner Taylor.
And Commissioner Taylor seconds. We'll take a vote. And Commissioner Brazil?
Aye.
Commissioner Crow?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
And Commissioner King?
Aye.
Commissioner Park?
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor?
Aye.
And I'm Chair Walsh, vote aye as well. So we will take general public comment after the Charter Schools Division update. Members of the public who wish to make general public comment by phone for items that are not part of the ACCS agenda may dial in now. Please call 717-908-1926 and use access code 11-66083#. You must enter access code 11-66083# to be added to the caller queue. Callers making public comments should make sure the volume on their computer is muted to avoid echoing sounds during the call. And now, Commissioner Park, it is your floor.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I have some exciting and some pending announcements and updates about the charter world. The California Department of Education Grants Director Allison Ball was pleased to present at a very large audience at the California Charter Schools Association Conference on March 11th in Sacramento to spread awareness about our public charter school grant program. This is the $93 million federal grant that California was awarded in the fall for new, expanding, and replicating charter schools. The good news is that we have been able to have funds approved and flowing to some of our former charter schools in the grant that were rolled over into the new grant. The grant is active and live. That's the good news. The pending news is that the larger bulk of our request for applications, the RFA is what we call it, is pending review from the U.S. Department of Education, and there have been some goings on there. So we are hoping to get approval. We were hoping for March, but stay tuned. We are knocking on the door every week to ask if that can get approved as soon as possible, and appreciate everyone's support in having that get underway. This is the first year of our 5-year grant, so we're still in a very good place to give out the funds in a timely manner, but as many of our charter friends attending the conference, as well as our office, we're eager to get that started. So stay tuned. I hope to have an update for you at our June meeting. So CDE posted its charter school performance category data file. These are those renewal categories, sometimes referred to as high, middle, low tier. That was on March 14th. And so the bell curve, if you will, was very similar to last year. We had 191 charter schools identified in the high tier, down slightly from 205. The bulk of the charter schools were in middle tier, 893, up slightly from last year's 855, and then a small number of 77 in the low tier category, which was up 5 schools from 72 last year. So if you have any questions, always feel free to email us at charters with an S at cde.ca.gov about your charter school's performance category. And I'm also pleased to announce that 3 of our staff, Allison Ball, Danielle Story, and Tierney Allenby, have had their presentation proposals accepted by the California Charter Authorizing Professionals CCAP conference, which will be held in June 16th to 18th. So we're excited to have several program presentations by CDE staff on the topic of charters. And then finally, very excited, part of our doubled in size federal grant is to expand authorizer support. I think charters and authorizers alike agree that we can improve the quality of authorizing here in California. And so we went from a 1 LEA model to a 3 LEA model. And we're excited that Los Angeles County, Santa Clara County, and San Diego Unified, so representing from north to south across California, a very wide, diverse authorizer pool. And among them, their portfolios are very varied. So these 3 LEAs will provide technical assistance to school districts and county offices of education funded by the federal grant. They've already met. They submitted really strong applications, and they will be providing mentorship, one-on-one help, webinars, charter chats for both charter schools are welcome to attend, but the focus is on authorizers improving their oversight practices. So that was all done with our SBE liaisons helping us formulate how do we improve California charter school experience and charter school oversight. So that is the update. Please think all the good thoughts for our federal grant to get green light as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thinking good thoughts, thinking good thoughts. All right, here we go. Thank you very much for that update. We will now take public comment first from people in the room. CDE staff will call the names of the members of the public. Please form a line at the microphone located in the back of the boardroom if you have general public comment at this time. Do we have anyone?
No.
Do we have anyone on the phone?
Yes, we have 2.
So we will take public comment from callers on the phone, and we'll have 1 minute.
Good morning, caller 1643. Please state your name and affiliation. Your time starts now.
Hi, my name's Carla. I graduated Academia Avance, class 2018, attended Wellesley College thereafter, and graduated. I believe Avance should...
Hi, caller. We are taking comments for general public right now. Please call back when we get to item 3. Okay. Good morning, caller 4282. Please state your name and affiliation. Your time starts now. Hello, caller. They hung up.
All right. Then we will move along. We have just 3 items on the agenda today. We will hear 2 non-classroom-based funding determination items and then consider evidence regarding a notice of violation issued to the Academia Avance charter by the State Board of Education. So we'll begin with item number 1. Excuse me. And so we'll receive the level of, we'll try this again. Consideration of request for determination of funding as required by non-classroom-based charter schools. People wishing to make public comment for this item should call in at this time, dial 717-908-1926 and use access code 1166083# when prompted. You must enter that access code, once again, 1166083# to be added to the caller queue. At this time, looks like McKenna Huey is ready to present.
Good morning, Chair Walsh and members of the Commission. My name is McKenna Huey, and I'm here to present item 1 of today's meeting agenda. So this item consists of determination of funding requests for 27 charter schools. All charter schools presented in this item meet the regulatory requirements for their requested level of funding. So as such, the department proposes to recommend that the State Board approve the determination of funding requests for all charter schools at their requested levels of funding and for the time period specified in attachment 1. 25 charter schools in this item requested 100% funding, and 2 charter schools requested 85% funding. Statute provides that a charter school may receive funding for its non-classroom-based instruction only if a determination of funding is made by the State Board. In determining that non-classroom-based instruction is conducted for the instructional benefit of pupils and is substantially dedicated to that function, the State Board shall consider the amount a charter school's total budget is expended on certificated employee salaries and benefits on school sites and the pupil-teacher ratio of the charter school. Pursuant to statute and regulations, a charter school may qualify for 70, 85, or 100% funding, or may be denied funding for its non-classroom-based instruction. The criteria to qualify for each level of funding are identified on this slide. In order to qualify for a recommendation of 100%, a charter school must spend at least 40% of its public revenues on certificated staff salaries and benefits, spend at least 80% of its total revenues on instruction and related services, and maintain a pupil-to-teacher ratio of 25:1. To qualify for 85% funding, a charter school must spend at least 40% on certificated staff salaries and benefits and spend at least 70% on instruction and related services. So regulations state that a funding determination shall be in increments of 2 to 5 years. Statute outlines the requirements for a funding period of 5 years based on a charter school's academic performance index, which is no longer calculated. Based on the department's current interpretation of statute, the department recommends funding periods of 2 to 4 years, depending on the number of times a charter school has submitted a funding determination request to the State Board. And details of that criteria are detailed on this slide here. In conclusion, as all charter schools presented in this item meet the regulatory requirements to qualify for their requested level of funding, the department proposes to recommend that the State Board approve the requests for each charter school at their requested levels of funding and for the time period specified in attachment 1. Thank you for your consideration of this item. I'm happy to answer any questions.
At this time, do any of the commissioners have any clarifying questions?
I don't have a clarifying question. I just have my same ongoing comment with respect to the number of years.
Go right ahead, Commissioner King.
Okay. So my concern continues to be that because statute does allow for 5 years and we've now adopted a practice of 4 years, it has a negative impact on the charters. And I think we should consider and keep considering allowing charters to receive funding determinations all the way up to the 5-year statute, not just the 4 years that has been common practice in the last, several years.
Thank you, Commissioner King. So noted. And at this time, if there are no other,
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. I do have a question.
go right ahead, Commissioner. Sorry, Commissioner Jones, go right ahead.
No problem. So I just have a question about a couple of individual schools. Would this be the time to do it? It's just a clarification over the FTEs.
It was a clarification. It works perfectly fine right now.
Okay, so in looking at both South Sutter, Sky Mountain, so they have very large expenditures that kind of go to each other and then also to Ocean Grove as part of their network within their charter management organization. And it says basically for like shared staffing. And so what I wanted to know is how is this accounted for in the staff numbers, especially in like calculating the FTEs and per pupil ratio. And then basically like, are the costs of that accounted at multiple schools? Like, how does that work with the shared staffing?
So that is a question that we did ask the charter schools that indicated that they may have some shared employees. The charter schools stated that their FTE count excludes any shared employees and presents only staff that are employed by that submitting charter school. So any adjustments to their FTE count for shared employees are again only counted for that school that is submitting the funding determination form.
All right, thank you. All right, at this time, are there any public commenters on the phone for item 1? The operator will notify callers when it's their turn to provide public comment. Public comment is limited to 1 minute per speaker. Do we have anyone wishing to make a comment?
There are no public comments on the phone or in person.
All right. Then we'll move back into deliberation. So at this time, commissioners, any deeper questions or do we have any other statements? Seeing none, the recommendation is that the schools listed receive the level of funding requested. Entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Commissioner Brazil moves to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Yeah, Commissioner Crowe, seconds. All right. We will go ahead and take a vote. Commissioner Brazil? Aye. Commissioner Crowe?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones?
No, because of system issues.
Commissioner King?
Aye.
Commissioner Park?
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor? Aye. And I vote aye. Motion carries 6-1. Thank you. And we will move on now to item number 2, consideration of requests for determination of funding with reasonable basis and mitigating circumstances. This time, people who are wishing to make public comment by phone for this item should call in at this time, dial 717-908-1926, and use access code 1166083 when prompted. You must enter access code 1166083 to be added to the caller queue. And at this time, Jonathan Yu will present for CDE. I don't think you're on.
Okay. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Jonathan Yu. I'm with the CDE, Charter Schools Division. Here to present item number 2, non-classroom-based funding determination request with mitigating circumstances. This item considers determination of funding requests with mitigating circumstances from 6 charter schools. All charter schools presented in this item requested 100% funding for their non-classroom-based instruction. Without the consideration of mitigating circumstances, none of the charter schools meet the regulatory expenditure requirements for 100% funding. The CDE proposes to recommend that the SBE take the following actions as provided in Attachment 1, which is approve the determination of funding requests for 5 charter schools at a funding level higher than what they qualify to receive pursuant to regulatory criteria for 2 years, and approve the determination of funding request for 1 charter school at the funding level for which it qualifies to receive pursuant to regulatory criteria for 2 years. The funding criteria is listed in this table below and is identical to the table you saw in item 1. A reasonable basis or mitigating circumstances by which to make a recommendation other than one that results from the criteria may be found pursuant to regulations. Mitigating circumstances may include, but not be limited to, the following: information provided by the charter school on its funding determination form, documented data regarding individual circumstances of the charter school, the size of the charter school, and the number of years that the charter school has been in operation. The CDE considers the following for each charter school: the level of funding and the funding period requested, the level of funding for which it qualifies based on reported expenditures, individual circumstances of the charter school, the school size, total reserves, and previous requests for the consideration of mitigating circumstances. The CDE requests clarifying information as necessary to make possible a more detailed review or to develop a reasonable basis for a recommendation other than those prescribed by regulations. A funding determination shall be in increments of 2 to 5 years pursuant to regulations. For a charter school requesting the consideration of mitigating circumstances, the CDE typically recommends a funding determination period of 2 years. A period of 2 years allows the CDE to revisit a charter school's funding determination sooner, ensure that the charter school meets the expenditure criteria for its approved level of funding for its non-classroom-based instruction, and follow up on other matters reported by the charter school in its determination of funding request. In conclusion, the CDE proposes to recommend that the SBE take the following action as provided in attachment 1, which is approve the determination of funding request for 5 charter schools at a funding level higher than what they qualify to receive pursuant to regulatory criteria for 2 years, and approve the determination of funding request for 1 charter school at the funding level for which it qualifies to receive pursuant to regulatory criteria for 2 years. And the CDE notes that charter schools whose funding determinations are approved at a level different than what they requested may submit a reconsideration request to request a higher level of funding. That concludes my presentation. I'm here for any questions.
So at this time, do any of the commissioners have a clarifying question? Commissioner Crowe?
Can I just ask why the Tahama was the only one that was not at a higher level than what they requested?
Yes. So as detailed in the item, they didn't establish a reasonable basis to recommend a higher level of funding, and there are issues such as their high reserves that they didn't provide a satisfactory explanation for. Their reserves are about 190% of total expenditures, so that was a factor in our recommendation, and they didn't provide a satisfactory explanation.
Thank you.
Any further questions from any of the commissioners? All right. At this time, are there any public commenters on the phone for this item?
There are nobody in the queue. Sorry.
And no one in the line for?
We do have one.
Then we'll go ahead and at this time hear from
William James. Please stand up to the podium.
My name is William James Donner. I've served 21 years in public education. Charter 0526. At the current time in Sonoma County, there is a large restructuring of public school districts and associative charters. In Santa Rosa, where our charter is held, many schools are closing. We are anticipating an increased enrollment for the 25-26 school year and beyond. At this time, I've served my position as the chief business official for the district and charter for almost 1 year. We have an additional new superintendent, and I can say, in my experience, we are studying the right course. We are increasing and improving services for our students. With only a limited time to speak, I urge that you approve consideration of request for determination of funding with reasonable basis mitigating circumstances as required for non-classroom-based charter schools. Thank you.
Thank you. And Any more callers, or excuse me, any more commenters?
No more.
Thank you. All right. So at this time, we'll go ahead and turn this over to the commissioners for deliberation or further questions. Seeing none, the recommendation is by CDE to approve as presented for 5 schools and also for 1 school at 2 years. I will entertain a motion.
Commissioner Taylor, I move the staff recommendation.
So Commissioner Taylor moves, and is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Brazil will second. And we'll go ahead and take a vote. So Commissioner Brazil.
Aye.
And Commissioner Crowe.
Aye.
And Commissioner Jones.
No.
And Commissioner King.
Aye.
And Commissioner Park.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
And I vote aye. So motion passes. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to item number 3. Consider evidence regarding a notice of violation issued by the California State Board of Education to Academia Avance Charter. And let's see, as I scroll down to the right place on my notes. People wishing to make public comment by phone for this item should call in at this time. Please dial 717-908-1926 and use access code 1166083 # when prompted. You must enter access code 1166083 # to be added to the caller queue. So at this time, oh, Craig, you're already there, ready to present and share CDE's recommendation.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioner Walsh, Chair Walsh, and our commissioners and our state board liaisons and members of the public. Craig Heimlichner for the Charter Schools Division to present this item. I want to say first that this is rather a lengthy presentation, and some of it is duplicated in the item itself, so I may not read every detail on every slide, but in some cases I will, because this is a very serious, important matter, and we want to be as fair and detailed as possible, give everybody the best chance to deliberate correctly and come to the fairest and most correct decision. So let me get started here with our item 3, as stated, is to consider evidence regarding a notice of violation and recommend that a notice of intent to revoke with notice of fact be issued to Academia Avance Charter. So for the summary of the issue, Avance is how it's usually referred to by the people who attend it, the Academia Avance, or the charter school. It's a California State Board of Education, or SBE, authorized charter school. And the California Department of Education, or CDE, has determined that substantial evidence exists demonstrating Avance engaged in fiscal mismanagement pursuant to California Education Code, or EC Section 47607F3. So pursuant to EC Section 47607G, the chartering authority shall notify the charter school of any violation and provide the charter school with a reasonable opportunity to remedy the violation. On March 5th, 2025, the SBE issued a notice of violation to Avance and provided a reasonable opportunity to remedy the violation pursuant to Ed Code Section 47607G. And I want to mention that they also were verbally informed on February 21st, so there was even more time. And they saw the draft notice of violation in writing on February 28th when the agenda was posted. And that while March 13th was the deadline, in order to have the materials reviewed in time for the posting for this meeting, that was not their only and final opportunity to respond. So if the SBE issues the notice of intent to revoke, Avance will have a public hearing before the final decision. I want to just mention that there are many steps in there to try to give them as reasonable a chance to respond as possible and make this fair. And then on March 13th, 2025, they submitted their response to the notice of violation. So on for the proposed recommendation, there we go. The CDE proposes to recommend that the State Board issue a notice of intent to revoke with notice of facts to Academia Avance pursuant to EC Section 47607H at its May 7th and 8th, 2025 meeting. And the CDE provides substantial evidence that the school has committed fiscal mismanagement pursuant to EC Section 47607F3. So the reasons for revocation, those are outlined in EC Section 47607F. They state that a charter school may be revoked by the authority that granted the charter if the authority finds, through a showing of substantial evidence, that the charter school did any of the following. And there are four sections listed: committed a material violation of any of the conditions, standards, or procedures set forth in the charter, or failed to meet or pursue any of the pupil outcomes identified in the charter, failed to meet generally accepted accounting principles, or engaged in fiscal mismanagement. That's the one we're going to focus on today, or violated any provision of the law. For the background of the school, it operates currently under the authorization of the State Board of Education, with oversight duties delegated to the Department of Education, and the current charter term will be ending June 30th, 2028. And Avance offers a classroom-based program to approximately 200 students in grades 6 through 12. And they previously operated, as you'll see in a moment on a chart, multiple sites, but they consolidated into a single site in 2024-25 as part of addressing declining revenue. Or what you're going to see also is how long they've been around. They have been around quite a bit. I won't read the entire chart here, but this shows that they go back to 2005. They've been with Los Angeles Unified. They've been with the Los Angeles County Office of Education. They've been finally with the State Board for quite a while, since 2015 when they appealed to us. And they're still with us. So for the background, the CDE has provided regular technical assistance to Avance, and the CDE meets monthly with Avance to review the fiscal condition as well as other oversight areas. In addition, the department conducts an annual in-person site visit that includes interviews, observations, document review. Discussion topics at monthly oversight meetings and annual site visits have included the CDE's concerns about the budget development of the school, assumptions including enrollment, projections, decreasing revenue, increasing debts and liabilities, and lack of internal controls. So this has been a very ongoing conversation working with the school. And the CDE did issue some letters of concern to the school in both May 2024 and November 2024. These are fiscal letters of concerns outlining a more detailed version of what we're just talking about. So regarding fiscal mismanagement, this does not, by the way, imply intent, like deliberate intent to do this. This is just a statement of what we see has happened. For purposes of determining whether an agency has engaged in fiscal mismanagement, the CDE considers the Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistant Team Indicators, or FCMAT, of risk or potential insolvency for charter schools. And those are listed on the slide. I'm not going to read all of them, but we're going to focus on a few that we think are applicable in this situation. Number 1, unreliable budget development. Number 8, inattention to enrollment and attendance reporting. 9, decreasing fund balance and reserve for economic uncertainty. 10, ineffective internal controls and fraud prevention. And 13, inattention to debt and risk management. There we go. Fiscal review and analysis. There have been a number of steps in this. In 2023 and 2024, we reviewed the second interim report, which the school turned in. Also, their unaudited actuals report, their 2024-25 budget, which was provided on July 1st of 2024. Their revised budget provided on July 22nd of 2024. In September, on September 30th, the statement of financial position, and then going into 2025, February 28th, the statement of financial position. We also looked at their aging reports, October 23, 2024, and also February 26, 2025, and then the first interim for 2024-25 and second interim. So we've looked at a lot of detail to try to provide oversight. So as I mentioned before, there were the 5 that we're focusing on as instances of violation. And so they're listed there again, and we're going to move right into ineffective in internal controls. So FCMAT identifies the following as a demonstration of ineffective internal controls: beginning balances for the new fiscal year not posted and reconciled with the ending balances from the prior fiscal year. So the school's beginning fund balance for the current fiscal year does not align with its ending fund balance of the prior fiscal year. And so for their 2024-25 first interim report, they indicated a beginning fund balance of negative $2,258,911, while the charter school's 23-24 unaudited actuals report reflects an ending fund balance of negative $1,900,807. So there's a $358,104 difference between the school's ending and beginning fund balances. And so that to us demonstrates ineffective internal controls, supports a finding of fiscal mismanagement. Now, here is, and you'll hear from the school, of course, but I also wanted to include their response and what we put together as our analysis of the response. So they did submit response on March 13th, as I noted, and so they state that they acknowledge the discrepancy, they attribute it to inaccuracies within the first interim report, and specifically the reported beginning fund balance of $2,258,911. They said that was submitted during a period of significant leadership transition and did not undergo the necessary level of due diligence. Since then, the school states that the new leadership team has prioritized a comprehensive review and reconciliation of the school's financial records. And this process, they state, has resulted in a more accurate financial report and forecast now included. You'll be hearing, I'm sure, more detail on that from the school. So they're committed, they say, to ensuring accuracy and transparency of all future financial submissions and implementing enhanced internal controls. They enclosed a reserve restoration plan link, and they will revisit and mitigate as needed. And they also state that they've taken some corrective actions. They've replaced the leadership and administration team. They've established debt reduction payment plans, including freezing non-essential spending. They've engaged an interim CFO, Chief Financial Officer, at no cost to the school. They've revised a fiscal control policy in December of last year. They strengthened their audit process. Now, CDE also has reviewed this response, and our analysis is as follows: that they still continue to reflect ineffective internal controls as demonstrated by their oversight fee projections continue to be unrealistic. The anomaly was not identified by the new leadership as part of its expanded review process, and the school developed the January 2025 and March 2025 budget updates without a completed independent financial audit report for fiscal year 2023-24, which we will focus on that a little bit. Number 2, from FCMAT's indicators, decreasing fund balance and reserve for economic uncertainty. So FCMAT lists this unstable, unrestricted fund balance category, a failure to maintain a minimum reserve for economic uncertainty, to have some money set aside in case there's a disaster. An absence of a plan to restore the minimum reserve as examples of indicators of risk or potential insolvency. So the school reported a projected ending fund balance of negative $1,939,086 in its 2024-25 first interim report. So pursuant to the Memorandum of Understanding between Academia Avance and the State Board of Education, Avance is required to maintain a minimum of 5% financial reserve for economic uncertainty. And their projected negative ending fund balance for the current fiscal year and their failure to maintain the minimum reserve for economic uncertainty also supports a finding of fiscal mismanagement. So their response is as follows. They described the following corrective actions: some vendor payment plans that have been established to systematically reduce liabilities. And I'm sure you'll hear more on that from the school, and a reserve restoration plan. They also included a multi-year forecast. So here is an indication on a chart that they are projecting fund balances and reserve amounts summarized in this table. So you can see as the years move out what they are projecting. And then on the analysis from the Department of Education regarding their response, we find that they continue to project negative ending fund balances for fiscal years 2024-25, 25-26, and 26-27. And I'll move back to that chart for a second so you can see, well, if I can move back to the chart. Hold on just a second. There we go. You can see that there are still negative ending fund balances in some of these years moving forward. Avance has also failed to provide an adequate plan to restore the 5% minimum reserve in 4 out of the 5 years presented to the Department of Education. So number 3 from FCMAT is inattention to enrollment. And FCMAT provides enrollment decreasing and or unstable and enrollment projections and assumptions not based on reasonable considerations as examples of a charter school's inattention to enrollment. So they've experienced 7 consecutive years of enrollment decline, unfortunately, from 391 students in 2018-19 to currently approximately 200 students in 2024-25. So it's really gone down. As I mentioned, they have had to close one of their locations as a result, understandably. And then as we move into, let's see here, sorry, having a few issues with, there we go. Inattention to enrollment, we notified the school of our concern regarding declining enrollment in a letter dated May 6th, 2024. And their overall declining enrollment and use of unreasonable enrollment projections demonstrates that the school's inattention to enrollment and consequently unreliable budget assumptions, that supports, in our consideration, a finding of fiscal mismanagement. And of course, the school has responded, and they stated that they've taken the following corrective actions: new enrollment and marketing strategy, recruitment efforts that now focus on career technical education programs, internships for seniors, college readiness pathways, and they've also stated that they are increasing student enrollment from South Central. That's part of their plan. They say realistic enrollment projections now, that enrollment forecasts are now adjusted based on historical data and verified third-party recruitment estimates. So the CDE's analysis of this response is that declining enrollment and use of unreasonable enrollment projections demonstrate its inattention to enrollment and consequently unreliable budget assumptions, which indicate a failure to remedy fiscal mismanagement. So we did not see enough in that response to alter our analysis of this inattention to enrollment marker. Number 4 is unreliable budget development. So FCMAT describes unclear budget assumptions as an indication of unreliable budget development. Charter schools are required to submit prior year unaudited actuals, and those reports for the state board authorized charter schools also come to CDE. They're for the September 15th of each year. This is a standard date, and its first interim and independent financial audit reports to the CDE by December 15th of each year. So Avance submitted its fiscal year 2024-25 first interim report before completing its fiscal year 23-24 unaudited actuals report. As the first interim was developed without prior year financial data, the school's 2024-25 budgets include unclear budget assumptions, and so that indicates unreliable budget development. So you can see in the chart when these were submitted, and as of March 17th, 2025, the independent audit for the full prior year ending June 30th has still not been submitted. Financial reports, including second interim reports submitted to the CDE in February 2025 have been developed without the independent audit report for the prior fiscal year. So that demonstrates a lack of reliability and supports a finding of fiscal mismanagement. Number 4, their response, the schools responded and said that they have taken some corrective actions, including improved budget assumptions. Budgets are now aligned, they state, with the actual enrollment trends and realistic revenue and expenditure projections. And the board must now approve budget assumptions exceeding a 5% variance from prior year actuals. And they state that they've implemented stronger financial oversight, that the budget forecasts are reviewed quarterly and adjusted based on updated financial reports, and the unaudited actuals are now a required precondition before submitting new budgets. The response of the department to that is that they still continue to use unreliable and inaccurate budget assumptions, as demonstrated by its multi-year budget projections submitted as part of its response. And they also do not include adjustments for inflation for the expenses for 5 consecutive years. We've listed a number of them here on this slide. They're also available in the item itself. So I won't read all of these, but this is an important part of our analysis. Number 5, inattention to debt. This is the last of the 5 that we focused on from FCMAT. FCMAT includes high levels of debt with total debt service payments greater than 2% of a charter school's general revenues as an indicator of financial risk or potential insolvency. So a current ratio of less than 1, this is a little bit into the weeds, indicates that they may be unable to meet short-term financial obligations. Per the statement of financial position, which was dated February 28, 2025, submitted by the school in its response to the notice of violation, the school has a current ratio of 0.15. So that's less than 1. The current ratio is calculated by dividing current assets, that's $638,834, by current liabilities, which are $4,237,020. So a debt ratio of greater than 1 indicates that a school has more debts than assets, limiting its options for financing, which may result in being unable to meet long-term financial obligations. So again, with their response that they submitted, the debt ratio was 2.35. That's greater than 1. The debt ratio is calculated by dividing total liabilities, $4,358,335, by total assets, which are $1,851,531. So the inattention to the debt ratio and past due outstanding invoices of the school indicates a significant risk of potential insolvency, demonstrating that the school has not remedied the State Board of Education's finding of fiscal mismanagement. And the response of the school is that that a current ratio of less than 1 indicates that they may be able to meet short-term financial obligations. And per their statement, they have a current ratio of 0.15, and that they state that a debt ratio of greater than 1, they acknowledge this is a correct debt ratio, but they state that the inattention of the debt ratio and past due outstanding invoices of the school indicate significant risk of potential insolvency, and they did not really address that in a way that was convincing to the Department of Education. So we've analyzed that and stated that per the aging report, which shows when the payments are due to the vendors and when they've been made and so forth, that the school has outstanding invoices still totaling $1,884,678.90, of which, this is significant, $867,983.39 is 120 days past due to the vendors. So in conclusion, the Department of Education finds that there's substantial evidence that fiscal mismanagement has occurred, warranting revocation pursuant to Ed Code 47607F3 as described in the notice of violation issued on March 5th, 2025, and that the school has not adequately refuted, remedied, or proposed a plan to remedy the violations identified in the notice of violation. So therefore, So the CDE proposes to recommend that the State Board of Education issue a notice of intent to revoke with notice of facts to the charter school pursuant to Ed Code Section 47607H at its May 7th and 8th, 2025 meeting. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, while this is not a public hearing, we would like to provide an opportunity for the charter school to make a brief presentation. I believe Victor Aguirre, Executive Director of Academia Avance Charter, is going to present, and we'll have 10 minutes to address the commission. And so welcome, Mr. Aguirre. The CDE staff will let you know when you have 1 minute left and also when time is up.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Lisa Contreras. I am the HR and Operations Manager at Academia Avance. Academia Avance is the last charter school in Highland Park. And today I want to talk to you about some of our successes. So Academia Avance has reflected strong academic programs. This is demonstrated by our consistent high graduation rates. Academia Avance has many students that enroll in four-year colleges and universities, and they persist. It's also a great pleasure to report that Avance has a full circle impact, and that's demonstrated by some of our alumni that will also be here today to speak. We have a robust athletic program. We have a strong CTE program that's focused on finance and business. Our students get the opportunity to gain work-life experience through our internship programs with local partners. They get hands-on career training in careers that they are wanting to explore. We also have the opportunity for our students to travel nationally and internationally to address and engage with other students regarding civil and social awareness. I'm going to go ahead and let my colleagues continue here. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. I came on board, I was asked to come on board to support the school with their situation that they had gotten themselves into, and I came on board in October. Our school has undergone a complete administrative transition and a new leadership team. Oh, you already did. And a new leadership team has been actively working on rectifying past financial mismanagement. We have implemented significant corrective actions to strengthen fiscal oversight, budget reliability, and compliance with charter school regulations. In the area of ineffective internal controls, the issues with ending and beginning balances occurred prior to the current leadership and have impacted everything moving forward. New financial quality control processes and procedures are in place that align with revised fiscal control policy. We acknowledge that the unfortunate error of the $529 under charter oversight fees with other errors. Today, our current quality control implementation of financial reports, preparation, and reviews prevents financial reporting deficiencies, as will be demonstrated in our upcoming March report. Our team continues to undergo training on financial policies, reconciliation protocols, and reporting timelines. The interim COO provides independent oversight and guidance on all fiscal operations. We are reviewing our projections and financial performance on a weekly basis. In the area of decreasing fund balance and reserve for economic uncertainty, currently we have implemented board-approved reserve restoration plan. We've embarked on active, aggressive fundraising campaign, as well as strong campaign to increase enrollment and improve ADA. We have instituted cost containment, freezing non-essentials, deferred capital expenses, and negotiated vendor payments. A 5% reserve allocation is built into all future budgets. We have established a quarterly reserve monitoring by Board Finance Committee and interim COO. We continue to refine the development and implementation of a 3-year financial sustainability strategy with enrollment-based revenue planning.
Good morning. My name is Lisbeth Garcia. I will be addressing the inattention to enrollment. Although we have a budget ADA set to 95%, we are internally operating our expenditure budget at 188 students based on quarter 1. If we do obtain a higher ADA, that will financially benefit us. This academic school year, we have reached over 90% ADA 7 of the 8 months of the school. We are also doing targeted outreach in South Central LA. We are increasing enrollment outside of Highland Park. In the year 21 to 22, 23 families were serviced outside of Highland Park community. And since then, we have been able to reach 40 families outside of this community. This will continue to increase by our contract that started with Trust Ed that will lead target outreach and enrollment, working with the team of staff for greater results. We're going to be showing our CTE program, which has been expanded from previously certifications on QuickBooks to Microsoft MOS, and our plan is to expand on different pathways. We're focusing on retention and family engagement by working closely with our EXL team, which is our after-school program, to engage communities and create more community events to publicize the school and definitely our programs.
In the area of unreliable budget development and submission without unaudited actuals, again, due to the deficient reports produced by prior practices, a complete revamp of the financial report preparation process is in place and includes improvements to our back office support and in-house staff, as well as will be demonstrated in our upcoming March report. This change will enable us to meet the unaudited actuals report timeline at the end of the year. It includes implementing ongoing weekly budget and financial reports review and analysis, and our most recent changes in our financial oversight allows our school management team to produce financial reports that show a more realistic and accurate school performance. In the area of attention to debt, delayed vendor payments, and high debt levels, since November 2024, current school management team has successfully reduced outstanding accounts payable by more than 50%, from $1,623,000 to $858,000 as of April 3rd, 2025. The new school management team have an active and daily debt management strategy as follows. Current and active vendors and banking relations are in good standing with payments as agreed. The school has negotiated and executed revised repayment plans with prior inactive vendors, resulting in improved liquidity and debt ratios. Our vendors are interested in assisting the school to succeed and working with us, as demonstrated by the lack of legal collection. Again, immediate corrective action, new leadership since 2024 to remedy what had taken place before and had impacted what has happened throughout this year. Our added addition to our interim COO, who has guided our fiscal practices, our fiscal control policy which was adopted, our monthly board and financial reviews, and weekly reconciliation process will have an impact on the continuation of our school. Again, we allow Avance to continue to provide the services to the community and students of Highland Park and surrounding areas. We respectfully request deferment on the revocation action to allow completion of the restoration plan. This is a new chapter for Avance. We're building trust and stability. Thank you for your patience and consideration.
Thank you. At this time, are there any public commenters on the phone?
Yes, there are 3 callers in the queue. Caller 1643, please state your name and affiliation for the record. You have 1 minute. Your time starts now.
Good morning. My name is Carla. I graduated Avance class of 2018 and attended Wellesley College thereafter. I believe Avance should stay open because the support I got there as a first-generation student, it was like no other. The smaller class sizes and tight-knit community allows for us, or for our needs to be met. Attending Avance very successfully opened up a path for me to obtain a higher education and went above and beyond, doing whatever possible to make sure everything we needed for our applications were met and our general education. It is a unique high school experience that provided internship opportunities, college visiting opportunities, and unique travel opportunities that I don't hear other schools having. It would be a shame to end the opportunity for future students who are part of the underrepresented communities such as myself to attend. I genuinely don't think I could have been as successful as I was without Academia Avance, so I hope you guys will allow for them to continue to do their hard work. I yield my time.
Thank you, caller. Caller 3394, please state your name and affiliation for the record. You have 1 minute. Your time starts now.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Eli Hernández, madre de familia de Academia Avance. Yo quiero manifestar mi apoyo a la escuela para que siga operando, porque tener a esta escuela en nuestra comunidad ha sido una gran esperanza a nuestras familias, en especial en la mía, ya que sembraron el sueño de ser profesionistas a egresados de Avance. Una fue abogada, trabaja en el condado de Los Ángeles, y la otra trabaja en el hospital Children's Hospital de Los Ángeles, y están 3 en la universidad. Mi hija se llama Divani Sánchez, está próxima a graduarse con aspiraciones a ser neuróloga. Academia Avance es un gran apoyo para nuestras familias, y es por eso que marca la diferencia en esta comunidad. Hay muchas escuelas, pero Avance es una de estas academias que le brindan mucho apoyo a nuestros estudiantes, y es por eso que muchas generaciones han llegado a ser profesionistas.
¿Cuál es su nombre otra vez, perdón?
Celida Hernández.
Hello, my name is Celida Hernandez. I'm a mom of 3 students currently at Advanced Academia. I just wanted to let you guys know that it would be a shame thing to revoke the license, because the family advanced program it has given our families a lot of hope. A lot of dreams have come through Advance. I have 3 kids in university. One of them is about to be a neurologist. Another one's a lawyer. So thank you, and please help us out.
Caller 4282, please state your name and affiliation for the record. Your time starts now.
This is Jose Vega. I'm a volunteer pro bono advisor COO for Advanced School. Let me state that I'm impressed by the mission of Advance to assist our underserved low-income community of Highland Park and South Central LA. Even the resources available to the community are so minimal that even the lack of Advance will have a current management has shown an exceptional example of a non-profit financial reorganization and financial restructuring, as reflected on the successful school turnaround since October last year. As an example of the improvement, let me state the same. As indicated earlier by Mr. Victor Martinez, in less than 5 months since November 2024, the school has reduced their accounts payable past due balances by more than 50%. The current active vendors are in current terms and paying as agreed. And the school is working with all vendors, and many of them agree with verbal repayment plans with.
Thank you, caller. Your time is up. We have 14 comments in the room. I'm going to call you guys I'm going to call you by 5. So please line up at the back mic. And before you begin, please remember to state your name and affiliation for the record. Could Dabani, Estefani, Victoria, Deanna Aker, and Oliver please line up?
So before you begin, I'm going to ask that if any of you require translation, please pause every few sentences so that our translator can make sure he replies back accurately. Thank you.
My name is Divani Sanchez, and I am a student at Academia Avance. Good morning. I am ASB president and proud senior at Avance. This school has been more than just a place to learn. It's been my home, my foundation, and the community that shaped me into the person I am today. I still remember being in 7th grade when Avance was going through its renewal process. I was scared that I would lose the one place I felt seen and supported. I didn't want to leave behind the incredible teachers who knew me, encouraged me, and made learning feel exciting. I remember the same day we got the news that Avance was renewed for another 4 years. I was ecstatic the support would continue. Now as a senior about to graduate this June, I can say that the same welcoming and supportive environment has stayed alive all these years. And thanks to the opportunities I've had at Avance and the dedication of my teachers, I've been accepted into some of the best universities in the country, including UCLA and UC Berkeley. These were once dreams, but the teachers helped me chase them, believe in me.
My name is Stephanie, and I'm a senior in Academia Avance. Avance is not just a school, it's a community that has changed the life of many, including mine. Here I found support, motivation, and the opportunity to further than ever imagined. Thanks to this school, I completed high school in just 2 years, and now I've been accepted to NYU Abu Dhabi, something I couldn't have achieved without the support I received at Avance. Avance is the effort of every student, the dedication of every teacher, and the spirit of a community that believes in education as a tool for change. It's a place where students like me find their path and where we all support each other to achieve our dreams. The difference program at Avance helps us more forward academically and also prepares us to start building our future. Avance is inspiration for students who come in with dreams and live with the confidence that they can reach them. For many of us, it's a second home, a place where we grow, learn, and discover what we're truly capable of, and that's what makes all the difference.
Hello, my name is Victoria Musilier. I'm a parent at Academia Avance. Once again, my name is Victoria Musilier. I stand in front of you as a parent, as an Academia Avance parent, and an advocate for quality of education for rights, for all rights. As a 10-year Academia Avance parent, my children are true testimony of the great things that Academia is offering. My daughter Natalia graduated in 2023, being second highest ranking student in her class. My daughter is now in its second year at UC San Diego, majoring in clinical psychology and striving to achieve a master's in science or law. My son Alex, a current 9th grader with an active IEP with multiple accommodations. Regardless of his learning disabilities and struggles to finding learning easy and interesting, he has been able to generate a plan of becoming a computer technologist and going and attending a 4-year college. And I don't doubt that that's not going to happen because it will achieve. My son just took his MAP testing and he scored national average, above national average in science, language, and reading, having multiple accommodations and also having an IEP. Let me remind you about that. And that is in results of the support and learning that he has received from staff at Academia Avance. Academia Avance's main focus is supporting and encouraging students with a rigorous and effective...
That's time, speaker.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes, me llamo Dionecker Ortiz, soy estudiante de Academia Avance. Este es mi tercer año, este es mi último año que me voy a graduar. Vengo de migrante desde Sudamérica, vengo desde Perú, y desde que llegué a Academia Avance siempre me he abierto las puertas. ¿Ah? Oh, disculpe.
Sí, por favor, ¿se puedes hablar nada más en pautas pequeñas para poder traducirte mejor?
Por supuesto.
¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Dionecker Ortiz.
¿Cómo te llamas?
Dionecker Ortiz.
My name is Dionecker Ortiz. I've been in Advanced Academia for 3 years. I'm from Peru. Continúa.
Desde que llegué a la escuela siempre me he abierto las puertas para ayudarme y académicamente y hacia otras formas dentro de ello.
Since I came to academia, they have opened the doors for me to learn. ¿Y qué más?
Siempre me he buscado la forma de cómo ayudarme estudiantilmente, vendré a ser.
They have always helped me out as a student to help me out in whatever I need. ¿Y luego?
Avance siempre ha buscado la forma de cómo sustentarme y cómo complacer la forma de cómo que quiero seguir estudiando.
Advance has always helped me in how to learn and how to go in advance of what I need to learn. Continúo.
Al punto de llegar que ya estoy a punto de ingresar a la universidad.
To the point that I'm almost ready to go to university.
Cosa que nunca me imaginé porque en mi país nunca pude soñar al respecto sobre eso.
I could never imagine in my country to dream something about going to the university like I'm doing it right now.
Y así como yo, hay muchos más jóvenes dentro de mi escuela que siguen soñando y siguen sus sueños.
Like me, there's a lot of young students that want to follow their dreams.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Oliver Guzman. I've attended Academia Avance since I was in 6th grade. Now I'm a freshman in high school. Academia Avance has opened doors for me for a lot of things, mentally and physically. I've challenged myself in this school for a long time, and then people I've met in here have changed my mind about everything and changed the view of my life. For example, the sport I like is soccer, and I joined the soccer season with my coach Ismael, and then with my teammates, we won league unbeaten, and then it was a very this decision made my life change a lot because I was going through some stuff in that moment.
That's time, speaker. Thank you. The next five, please stand up. Juan, Candy, Melissa, Yvonne, Delmy. And just as a reminder, if you require translation, please pause every few minutes. Seconds.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Juan Luis y soy estudiante del grado 10 de Academia Avance.
Good morning. My name is Juan Luis. I'm a student at Advanced Academia, 10th grade.
Para mí, Academia Avance ha sido importante en acoplarme en el cambio tan drástico que tuve en mi vida, el dejar mi país, dejando todo atrás, buscando algo mejor.
To me, Advanced, it's a really great thing coming from another country, my country, to find something better.
Aquí fue donde maestros, alumnos y personal de la escuela me hicieron sentir en un lugar cómodo.
This is where students and teachers made me feel that I was in a safe home.
Ser apoyado si tuviera algún problema dentro o fuera de la escuela.
To have support if I have an issue outside of school or in school.
En sí es un lugar en el cual quiero seguir creciendo académicamente y en la vida.
As a matter of fact, this is a place where I'm going to grow up academically and in life.
Avance ha sido importante en la comunidad, ayudando con despensas a gente que la necesita.
Advance is a good place to help out people that really need it.
Alumnos que necesitan ser beneficiados de ciertos modos con ayuda de la escuela lo son.
Students that really need a lot of help in some sort of issues, they are helped in this form.
Padres latinos como los míos les dan conferencias en español para que estén al tanto de todo.
Latin parents like mine are well informed in conferences to be helped out.
Haciendo mini eventos para que la comunidad y alumnos convivan.
To have small meetings so families and students get together.
Esto, gracias.
That's it, thank you.
Mi nombre es Candy Ruiz y soy mamá de uno de los estudiantes de Academia Avance. Y para mí la escuela no es una escuela, es una casa.
My name is Candy Ruiz. I'm a mother of a student of Academia. To me, the school is not a school, it's a house, it's a home.
Donde tienen el cuidado de nuestros estudiantes, incluyendo al mío, porque él estuvo en Franklin y es una escuela del distrito y él fue muy lastimado, había mucho bullying y lo golpearon demasiado, le quebraron su nariz.
So this is a safe place for my kids, safe place for my kid. He was going out to another school named Franklin, where he was bullied quite a bit. He was hurt.
Le doy gracias a Dios porque existe una escuela así, que no es una escuela que nuestros maestros y el personal tiene el cuidado con nuestros hijos y los impulsan a seguir una carrera.
I thank God that there's a school like this where the teachers help out our students to go ahead and continue with that, to have a career some sort of way.
Y les doy las gracias por eso y por permitirnos estar en este lugar y escucharnos.
And I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to listen to what we have to say. Thank you.
Necesitamos esta escuela como comunidad y como padres.
We need this school as a community and as parents.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Yvonne Garcia, and I have the privilege to work as Academia Avance School social worker. I'm also a part of Avance's first graduating class. I once heard a quote that said, "Students who are loved at home come to school to learn, and students who aren't come to school to be loved." From my many years as a student and as a staff member, I think it's safe for me to say that our students come to be loved, and they love they receive, give them the strength and regulation they so need to be able to learn. It's easy, I presume, to look at the data and make a decision without thinking about the people who will directly be impacted. Well, I think of my student, the one who commutes from South LA to make it to school every single day. That student who, like many, says that this is a safe place. That's a student who would have most likely been labeled as troubled and pushed to the school to prison pipeline. I think of my other student who struggles with major anxiety, whose father was detained by ICE. She who finds daily comfort in our community at Avance. Can they find another school? Yes. Can they find a family within those schools? I can't say they'll find one quite like us. We are more than the mistakes other people made. We're a family pushing through the life struggles together. We're a family creating change in the lives of so many students who would have been just like me, lost, just another statistic without Avance. I'm here today as a graduate from USC, a therapist and an advocate for our community because of Avance. Please don't take that opportunity away from our children. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Arriola. I am the site coordinator for the Expanded Learning Program, and I have the privilege of being part of the Avance community for the past 9 years. Avance has been more than just a place to work for me. It's been a place of growth, of resilience, and most importantly, of love. I've seen the impact that Avance has on our students, our families, and our staff. Avance is not just a school, it's a home. For many of our students, it's the only stable, supportive environment they have. We are the ones they turn to when they need help, when they need a guidance, or even when they need just someone to listen. I watch the students overcome struggles, grow in confidence, and achieve things they never thought possible. To hear that Avance in my clothes is heartbreaking, not just for me, but for every single person who has been part of this school. The community of Highland Park needs us, our students need us, our family need us. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Delmi Roquel, and I've been working at Academia Avance since 2011. I've been a part of the Life Prep program ever since. What makes our program special is that it gives first-generation students the chance to do real-life internships. In a recent article from Gallup, I read that only 23% of first-generation students graduate with work experience or internship experience by the time they graduate a four-year university. At Avance, we give our students the opportunity to close that gap. They're interning at places like Huntington Hospital, White Memorial, Union Station, Homelessness Services, Homeboy Industries, and many more. Taking public transportation, learning to navigate professional places, and building confidence. Our work is supported by the Unidos US and the Escalera curriculum, which is giving our students the opportunity to attend the Change Summit in Washington, D.C., where they learn about advocacy, visit Capitol Hill, and gain firsthand experience with lobbying and civic engagement. As a teacher and alongside my fellow teachers, we often find ourselves collaborating with our students when planning activities. We listen to their ideas and bring them to life together. Okay, thank you.
At this time, I'm going to ask the translator if he could please state that each speaker who needs translation to pause after every few seconds.
Por favor, todas las personas que necesiten la traducción en español, hablen en sentencias cortitas para poder traducir correctamente.
The next 4 speakers are Raquel, Maria, Danny, and Diana.
Good afternoon. This is Diana Garcia, and I am an alum from Academia Avance. I attended from 2008 to 2014. During these years, I had one of the greatest opportunities and experience a student can have: a supportive and encouraging atmosphere, caring teachers, and access to extracurricular activities. I participated in cross country, was part of an exchange program, and traveled to Taiwan in the 10th grade, formed part of the first women's soccer team, and even interned at the Huntington Hospital, all of which shaped me and gave me the confidence I have today. Avance helps students like me who are first generation attend college, become professionals, and change the trajectories of their lives. With the support of my teachers, I managed to attend San Jose State, graduate with a BA in behavioral science, and am now self-employed and work as a financial educator. I can wholeheartedly say that I wouldn't have this success if it weren't for Avance and my teachers. I wouldn't have the confidence to launch my own business. Closing down Academia Avance would be a loss of potential for students. The future of these students is in your hands. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Danny Reese, and today I want to let you know what Academia Avance is to me. The school has valued and welcomed me. This is where I can express my characteristics and get help with every of my concerns. I would also like to thank the school community for providing self-care to each student like me, such as giving IEP meetings or pull-outs to advance my grades with more efficient time needed and getting help from each staff member. Meanwhile, from my previous high school, Franklin, I never got full support and was constantly bullied, with no staff members dealing with situations that were taken care of at all. Simply, I was left out as if I was never part of the school's community. Avance is a school that also helps each individual with their different necessities, like me, who has learning disability and autism. Avance's support staff helps me comprehend every task with structural steps, has helped me significantly. Therefore, being part of Avance has brought me the joy of having full support, with being able to have many opportunities to explore my educational purposes. Thank you for your time.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es María Caraballo y estoy aquí soportando a los otros padres.
My name is Maria Caraballo. I'm here to support all the parents
Los estudiantes también.
and the students, of course.
Estoy aquí, hace 2 años yo llegué a Academia Avance.
I've been in Advance Academia for 2 years.
Mi hijo no aprendía nada en las otras escuelas, estaba demasiado bajo en sus grados.
My child will not learn in any other schools. He was very low academically.
Y cuando llegó a Academia Avance vi la diferencia que hay porque los maestros tienen la dedicación para los estudiantes y la paciencia.
And when he came to Academia, I've seen the difference. The teachers have the patience to teach.
Y también para nosotros los padres nos dan la oportunidad de que nos hagamos comunidad con ellos para soportarnos.
And as parents, they're able to give us the chance to be with them so we can support them better.
Por eso es que Academia Avance es una familia y es una casa donde yo les pido por favor que nos sigan soportando.
So please help us support Academia because they're family. Please help us support Academia.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Raquel Vidal.
Good morning. My name is Raquel Vidal.
Queridos miembros de la comunidad educativa, hoy estoy aquí para defender un valor fundamental, la educación de mi hijo y de los demás estudiantes soñadores.
Espérame un segundo. I'm here. Please see DE staff and members, Board of Education. I'm just here. Continúa.
No es solo un edificio, es el corazón de nuestra comunidad.
It's not just the building, Academia. It's our heart, our community heart.
Les pido por favor por el futuro de nuestros futuros líderes, artistas, científicos y doctores.
Please, I'm asking you on behalf of our future artists, doctors, scientific community,
que sigan con los sueños de los soñadores y que no cierren este privilegio de una nueva oportunidad para el crecimiento de nuestras futuras soñadores.
Please don't close the dreams of our future dreamers. Give us an opportunity.
No nada más es un edificio ni un número, es mi familia.
It's not just a building or a number. It's my family.
Thank you.
Gracias.
We do have one more caller in the queue. Caller 4282, please state your name and affiliation for the record. You have 1 minute. Your time starts now. Hello, caller.
¿Necesita que le traduzcamos en español? ¿Habla español?
Okay, thank you very much for all the public comments. See, we have one more.
Thank you. Eric Premack with the Charter School Center. I wanted to thank CDE staff and especially Craig for his hard work on this. I do think, though, it's important to keep this in a bit of context. Unlike school districts that get as much as a 3-year cushion when enrollment declines and attendance declines, charter schools face the cliff immediately and the funding just, and this school got whipsawed by a combination of pandemic and dramatic changes in federal immigration policy that caused enrollment to, plummet. And I think the school has done admirable work with some difficult staffing situations to try to right the ship quickly. Obviously, time is running out. I understand you have a tough decision. I hope that between now and then, the school is able to, or between now and the board meeting in May, the school is able to come back with a stronger picture. And I hope that everyone will keep an open mind until then and appreciate the work that they've done. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Jair Solis. I'm an alumni of Academia Avance as well. I just drove down from UC Merced, where I'm currently studying political science with emphasis in law and policy. I wanted to come here and say I wouldn't be here where I'm standing today without Avance. Avance is the backbone of the Highland Park community. I'm a witness of that. During the first Trump administration, during all the ICE stops and all that, they helped our community stay strong. And like you guys said, we're a community of migrants, low class, middle class workers. All of my peers, their parents were maids, cleaners, plumbers. We never really had no parents who were really doctors or stuff like that. All of our peers look like us, and a community that looks like us, we want to feel loved and heard, and we want a place where we could just learn and just fight the right fight against this Trump administration as well right now. So I'm happy that I got here on time to speak to y'all, and I just hope you guys hear us and take us into consideration. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kimberly Carlos. I am a proud alumni of Academia Avance, class of 2021. Today I stand before you not just as a soon-to-be college graduate, but as living proof of what Avance builds, leaders, dreamers, and doers. In just a few weeks, I will be graduating from UC Merced, a 4-year university with a double major in management, business economics, and psychology. But that journey did not start in college. It started at Avance. Avance was more than just a school to me. It was family, a community, and a foundation that believed in me in moments that I didn't believe in myself. For 7 years, Avance poured onto me lessons of leadership, perseverance, and confidence. They taught me that I was enough and that I could be a leader, and because of that, I have carried leadership with me in every space I enter, in jobs, in clubs, and in life. This school didn't just prepare me academically, it shaped me as the person as I am today. But today, I'm not here for myself. I'm here because I want to stand for the younger generation who can benefit from Avance the way I did. I ask you to take this decision very seriously. Shutting our school down doesn't just close its doors, it closes opportunities, it closes dreams. I am living proof of that, and I hope you will give future generations the same chances I was given. Thank you.
Okay, I would just like to say that it looks like we have additional speakers lined up in the back. So to reiterate, for the instructions for public comment, please be sure to state your name and affiliation for the record prior to providing public comment. And if you need translation, please pause after every few seconds. Could you please translate that?
Por favor, tenemos gente que va a hablar adicionalmente. Digan sus nombres y dónde pertenecen. Y si va a hacerlo en español, pause. Tome unos segundos para traducirle lo mejor que se pueda.
Good morning. My name is Melanie Magdaleno. I am also an alumni from Academia Avance. I am from UC Merced, a double major in psychology and human bio. I stand here not just as an alumni, but as someone who was shaped by a school that is far more than just a building. It's a community, it's a family. The high school I came from pushed us not only academically, but personally in sports and in our aspirations. The teachers there don't just teach, they connect, they motivate, and they invest in us. Even now in college, I can still turn to them for support and guidance. They've guided not only me, but my parents who are first-time college parents through a college process that is entirely new to all of us. This school doesn't just educate, it empowers, it uplifts, and never stops caring for their students and community. This is why it's worth keeping them open. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Charlene Gaspar. I am a junior at Academia Avance. When I found Avance, I was hesitant, but I knew to chase bigger academic and athletic opportunities, as well as I got the support I needed, not just in school, but personally. Since day one, always welcomed me with open arms and now feels like a second home to me. I've grown so much. This school has helped me open up and try new things, like, for example, track, soccer, volleyball, basketball, and SRLA. And for cross country, I did compete and ended up getting 5th place, thanks to my coach, Isma. I gained a lot of confidence and learned how to express myself. Most importantly, I feel seen and heard. Avance is a place where students are supportive and valued. I sincerely hope that we can continue to keep this special place open for future generations so others can experience the same life-changing opportunities that I have. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Dalen Jakes. I'm a sophomore at Academia Avance. May I comment that I am the only African American at the school. I'm a proud one as well. I would like to say, without any notes or paper, Academia Avance has gave me an opportunity to become someone stronger, to show who I really am. Academia Avance gave me the opportunity to stay out of the streets and to stay, academically strong. And it showed me that I can have a brighter future and I would be able to go out and accomplish my dreams. So therefore, I will be strong and do that. Before I go off, I would like to say, as Dr. Martin Luther King would say, I have a dream that other students will have the same opportunity as me and be able to have the opportunity to see how good and great Avance is. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Vivian Cruz. I'm currently a sophomore at Academia Avance, and I'm going to talk about how my time there has impacted my life. When I was at my previous middle school, I always got bullied and it made it hard to focus on my academics. This is when my mom switched me to Academia Avance. I really love how the school puts in effort to help each student, and ever since I moved to Avance, my grades went from D's to B's. Although I'm not graduating yet, I have first-hand experience watching my 3 older sisters receive opportunities and internships and help. Their skills, knowledge for the real world. Avance is home. It's not a bad school. Thank you so much for listening and have a good day.
So I will thank all of you for the efforts and the sincere comments. Want to also assure you that this commission takes your comments very seriously. At this time, the recommendation is to issue a notice of intent to revoke with notice of fact pursuant to statute. So, commissioners, questions, deliberations, we can begin.
Do we have an opportunity to ask follow-up questions to CDE?
Yes.
And the school? Okay. I just wanted to ask, I don't know if this is a CDE question or a school question, but about the annual audit. So I read through the materials, and the audit does not look like it's been yet submitted for 23-24. Is that true?
That is correct. The audit is in the final stages, and it is supposed to be completed, I believe, this week. That's the most that I've heard so far in communication with Christy White.
Okay. And was that auditor the auditor from previous years, or is this a new commission that you had?
So this is a new commission that we had, and that was part of the problem, is that prior administration had not submitted everything they needed in order to conduct their audit. And so that's what my team started working on when we came on board, and it's taken quite a while. In fact, that is part of the reason for the delay in the audited actuals that kind of started this whole wheel going.
And related to that, you talked about the new team. Is the board still the same board from previous years, or is the board turned over as well?
So the board has turned over somewhat, but there are 3 members that are currently there, and we have 3 other members that are potentially, 2 other members that have expressed interest, that have submitted their letters of their resumes, and that are going to, with full knowledge of what our situation is, and we'll be going into the process of getting on the board.
Those board members were the board members in 23-24?
No.
No. The 3 that are there currently are
they're still there. They're still there.
They were the board that had oversight. The current board had oversight during 23-24 as well.
Correct.
What is their, have they provided anything to us, Craig, on anything about why this happened or what information?
So we work directly with the school itself in our monthly oversight meetings and all of the interactions. And we do also, as part of that, watch the board meetings or listen into the board meetings, either myself or one of the team members. And then we also review the board agendas, board minutes, and so forth. So in that sense, we've been in touch with what the board is doing. And there has been nothing that is outside of what we presented to share that would change.
I have additional financial questions, but I'll save those and let someone else go.
All right, Commissioner Park.
Be able to give some context there as well. So the notice violation that has been reviewed, some of the concerns that were identified started in the spring of the prior fiscal year with the board that you mentioned and described. And so the first letter of concern by CDE to the school was in May of 2024. So it was not the first declining enrollment. We've had 7 consecutive years of declining enrollment. However, that was the first time that CDE noted a below 5% economic reserve. Since that below 5%, it was just trending at above 4.5%. However, in the following fall, we went from below 5% to a negative $2 million deficit. So it's been a not short process, and it's been a very progressive process with the school being responsive at every step and the board being very, very active in attempting to address it, as noted by the school.
So, Chair Walsh, can I make a comment, or I have a few questions?
Certainly. I was just trying to figure out where you're at on the screen. We're operating, just so you know, from the very small screen in front of us. So if you or Commissioner Jones want to speak, please wave the hand so I can make sure I catch you. So thank you. Go right ahead.
Okay. So I had a couple of questions. One, I wanted to start out with a comment to commend the families and the students who got up to speak, because it's very hard to do that. I also want to commend the school for, just the efficacy to hear the students who are currently in college or have previously graduated. It shows a lot of things were done right, at least pedagogically. So my questions kind of relate to the 2 aspects, and one of them I think Commissioner Park just kind of addressed, but I'd like to hear from the school. Is the enrollment, the month-over-month enrollment currently, is that trending positively, or is it still in a declining phase? My second question relates to the accounts payable. I think I heard and understand that at present there is a debt repayment process in place, but is it all current? Is everything current, or are we just paying arrears?
So in regards to the enrollment, it's in a standstill, actually. We are at 200, and it fluctuates. It goes up, and then it goes down. But we are at 200. And in regards to the other question was related to the debts owed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so those are it's a combination, actually, of the items in arrears and current expenditures. I.e., for example, special ed it's an ongoing cost for the school, and so that's something that we're continuing to pay as we go along. Any new items are paid as billed, and then any the items that were cited of 120-day in the aging report, those are what we keep tackling down.
And approximately at what rate on the ones that are 120 days in arrear? Like when is the projected catch-up time?
So our goal was, we had been working on it and planning on getting everything to a stable, balanced standing by the end of the current charter. And so I have our finance person here who can speak a little bit more to that.
Okay, my name is Evelyn Sosa, and the majority of the debt, to answer the question, is from last year. At very minimal, Mr. Aguirre did say that one of our departments is, a little bit on the expensive side for us right now, but the majority of that is from last year. And in terms of our repayment plan, I think we've established payment plans with the large amounts to be either 12 or 24-month repayment. And the smaller amounts, some of these we're trying to finish before the end of the school year, so by June, and some of them by the end of 2025. So it just varies depending on the amounts and if we have to go and have conversations again with our vendors to either expand our payment plan or shorten it.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions, Commissioner King?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Jones, I can't tell. Again, do you have any questions?
No question.
Oh yeah, if I could hear from the school, just a couple of questions to follow up on the enrollment. What is the capacity of your current site? So I know that we went from 2 sites to 1 site, but what is the total capacity that you can have at your current location?
Our capacity is 230 for the current site.
And then looking at projections for the outgoing years, what is the minimum enrollment that you think that you would be able to sustain a school at? Is it 200? Is it 150? What do you think that you need moving forward?
We were looking at 215, correct? Looking at my team. At 215 would enable us. And then again, it's a 215, but then we look at ADA. And so it's a seesaw of that. So it's a combination of the two. But that's kind of where we are with our contracted person for recruiting. And part of what we learned, because I wasn't there in years past, is although we provided transportation for students from South Central, there hadn't been a aggressive promotional or recruiting process for that area of Los Angeles. And so that is one of the factors that our current trust ed is working with us on in order to ensure that we have the enrollment that we need to be at full capacity. And but again, we're looking at creating our budgets conservatively in order not to fall into this situation again.
So just two follow-up questions on the ADA piece. So transportation from South Central, what would be the major means of getting kids up to Highland Park from South Central? And how do you bake that into the budget? Is there a per pupil that you put into the budget for getting them from South Central to Highland Park?
So I'm not sure what the formula is, but we do have, because we have the sports, that is what generated the need for the bus transportation. But we took advantage of that by bringing the students from South Central. When one of the schools in South Central closed, that is what drew our students into our school.
So you operate your own bus?
Yeah, we currently have 2 school buses for our community, and then we have 2 red vans that have 10 passenger capacities. We have a bus driver who is full-time with us, and then we have drivers for the van that are paid through our after-school program as well. So we do have a way of getting the students from South Central to our community.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Taylor.
I had a couple of financial questions. I'm not sure. I think it may be for the school that there were 2 different revenue projections attached to our documents. Attachment 4, which looks like it was from March, and then attachment 9, which looks like it was from January. So in January, it looked like the expenses were about $5.3 million for 24-25 and $5.4 million for 25-26. But in the new one that came out in March, the expenses were $4.6 million and $4.7 million. So did you guys go through a budget reduction, and what did that look like? Where were those cuts? I think it looks like almost $750,000. Where did those cuts come from?
So part of that was identifying the discrepancies with our back office support for expenditures. And so one of the things that triggered us to really more meticulously look at our aging reports, more meticulously looking at our GLs in order to identify errors that are being made. And so that's part of what happened. And so there was a change as we were going through, and we've modified that difference. We've modified it to be more realistic, more aligned with our enrollment for the upcoming March report that will be submitted.
So those reduced revenue projections are what you believe you actually are spending.
Correct.
The January report.
The current ones, correct.
Was more expensive. I was just wondering if you cut positions, if you cut teacher salaries, where you got that extra, almost $1 million from.
It was for the revenue you're referring to?
Sorry.
The expenses?
Revenues look fair. There's more revenue in March and less expenses in March. And so I just didn't know. I'm trying to understand what happened in a 2-month period of time to create.
Right. In order you're going to talk about the grants?
Yeah, so I was hopeful that we would have our interim COO, but because he is donating his time, he got held up. But he has been sitting with us and going through numbers on a more detailed basis. So I think he's the one that would be able to be giving us a more detailed response. But I can tell you, though, that from January to now, we did come into a new grant, a mental health grant, that is giving us a greater revenue that we were not counting on with that before. And some of these expenses, as well as we're going through them, we're making sure that they're either falling within our grants, which then that new expense, that new grant would, kind of cover. But yeah.
Okay. And I had 2 other. I was digging through the check registers and some of these attachments and some of the items that were spent, and there's an expense for $120,000 for consulting services and cashier's check fees for the IC group. What is the IC group?
The IC group, they're also part of our one of our grants consultant. So I think that's also where this change in revenue is happening, because This is our second year per se for one of our grants. It's called the STOP grant, Help Stop Violence. Yeah. And it just came in, and we're barely recognizing revenue for some of the expenses. And the consulting fees through that grant is what one of those are for the IC group. And there might be another one for like SPG, et cetera.
Okay.
And it's for like a full year contract.
Got it. And then I was just, and then there was one other expense that seemed a little bit interesting. That was a $30,000 expense for an unassigned ACH. So I didn't know what.
I think that was for the SPSG. So it's a full year contract.
Okay.
They started last year, but because we didn't have access to the funds, we paid it until we had the funds.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Crowe.
I have a few, following up on Commissioner Taylor, I have a few granular, and then I want to zoom out a little bit. In looking at this year's financials, the March picture, can you help me understand? It looks like in the textbooks and core curricula, so this would be the 4,100 line item. There was 76,000 spent on software, which I would assume is most of our curriculum is online now, et cetera, et cetera. But so far this year, there's only been $550 spent on textbooks and curricula. So trying to get clarification on why only $550 there. But then in 5804, the school has spent $137,000 on professional development. So it's clarification on $550 for textbooks versus $137,000 already on the books for professional development.
Again, with the professional development, it was part of the grants also. So because we pay them as a whole year, then they just give us one fee, and then we're part of a consortium. So it looks like it's for one school, but it's actually because we're now part of two grants. One consortium has about 10 schools, and the new one, which is starting, we had a kickoff grant meeting about a week ago or two. And we're going to start soon with that. We've already been able to hire 4 eds, and we have interns. So we're going to be also having that consortium cover between 3 to 5 additional schools with multiple sites. So when we have professional development, even though it's under professional development, it's not just for our school. Any of the schools part of the consortium can be a part of that professional development. And along with our staff, even if they're not a part of that grant specifically, if it's something that it can be beneficial for them, then everybody gets to attend. Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Crowe, can I ask a follow-up on,
Yes.
Similarly, your office expense category in 4310 there's $178,000 budgeted for office expenses, but $550 for textbooks and curriculum. I'm trying to understand the kid-facing side of the school with the amount of textbooks and expenditures versus the office expenses of almost $200,000.
We have online curriculums like Savas and McGraw-Hill that we have purchased. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. So we're still using that. Everything is now online. So we're not paying yearly fees for those curriculums. I believe we're only paying maybe for professional development for them to come and teach us how to better utilize the curriculum, but we're not purchasing new textbooks because after COVID, we all transition onto these portals, and that's why we provide our students with one-on-one computers so that they're able to use it throughout the day. And these curriculums are for math. McGraw-Hill, Savas is history and English, and I believe McGraw-Hill is also for science. So that's why we don't need textbooks.
And then final question, to kind of zoom out. There was reference to an interim COO pro bono, and possibly there was reference in the materials to also an interim CFO. Is there any background or clarification on who those folks are and their credentials?
Yeah, it's actually a misnomer. It was supposed to be COO, we originally began the conversation about having him be our CFO, but in looking at our charter petition, there isn't a CFO identified. It's a COO that's been identified. So that's where that came from.
And I believe he was on, that person was on a phone call earlier.
Yeah, he was on the phone call earlier. He was supposed to be on another platform for these questions, but he ended up going on the call in the public comment.
Provide just a quick background on that person's experience or.
So he has his own business, and he has an MBA, and he has, within our community actually, has worked with other companies who have been struggling financially or with their reporting and their books, and has helped them come out of it. And so that's part of what attracted us to him, in order to get him to help us with our situation.
Thank you.
I actually had a question about him as well. That it said, I thought I heard you say that he's volunteering his time.
Correct.
So was that once he becomes, we remove the title of interim COO, will he still be a volunteer?
So what he's going to do once we are stabilized and are able to rehire a COO, he will be a part of the recruitment and our onboarding of a COO.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And then my last question is, I'd love to know a little more if you could explain the recruiting process or the plan for it. If the capacity is 230 and your target is 215, you're talking about 15 more students, and with all the trending roles as far as the declining enrollment, I thought I heard someone say that Franklin School closed, and is that part of what allowed you to stop the decline, or what was that?
No, Franklin did not close. They're still in existence. It was a school that was in South Central Los Angeles in 2021 that closed. And so at that time, because it was an IB school, it was promoting college entrance and college going, they were looking for another institution where they can actually continue that path. And so that's how they selected Academia Avance. And so what we're doing now is reigniting that push for enrollment from that area to take advantage of the fact that we do have transportation coming from there, bringing more students to make it more cost effective.
All right, and so when that happened in that time, did that allow you to stop the decline, or was that part of what made you get to a point where you could just stay still?
I don't know that it stopped the decline, because according to the records, there was a continuation of decline during those succeeding years. And so I don't know that that was the case. And what we are doing is, again, when all of this came out and we communicated with our families and our students and our staff, they got on board and said, we need to do something more. And so that's how the push for recruitment and motivating the community, and through our community schools grant, we involve other community members and getting the word out to potential students. And with our monthly community events, our families, we are drawing in families who have students.
And just to clarify, I don't think that it's helping raise it so much. We're keeping it steady. Highland Park is a community that is continuously being gentrified. A lot of our Latino community is exiting because of the high cost and immigration climate right now. So what we're doing is targeting outside communities and promoting our programs like the CTE business. A lot of our students will leave after completing 3 semesters with the certification. This year is going to be on Microsoft, but last year it was on QuickBooks, I believe. And we also have our Life Prep program, which allows the students to go through 9th, 10th, and 11th grade learning about college. And then as a senior, they're able to go out of the campus and enter these internship programs. And they leave with something on their resume, right? Not just a high school graduate. Now they're interns at White Memorial. Now we can tell our communities, this is real, right? You come to our school, we give you the experience so that then you can go out into the real world and have something in your bag to say, I have this. So it might not create 200 more students, but it is balancing it out, and we are bringing other members of the community to benefit from our programs.
Thank you. Any further questions from any of the commissioners? Commissioner Brazil.
I think that there was mention of the 3 board members who are currently serving and that they have been with the school all the way along. What are the qualifications that you are looking for in appointing future board members?
The 2 current board members that have submitted their resumes, one of them is actually a superintendent of a CMO. And they have one school here, one in Las Vegas, and he's been in education for years. And then the other one is a director of the EXL program at another school, and she takes care of the budget and does all of that for their EXL. And so that's what we're looking for, somebody with experience in education, with experience in oversight, to keep us on our toes.
When will the appointment take place?
So it'll be, what I'm requesting from the board is to have a special meeting in order to introduce them. And then the follow-up meeting would be, we have a meeting coming up on the 17th in order to, I believe it's on the 17th, in order to bring them on board.
Chair Walsh, I do have a follow-up question just because of the answer. I just wanted to clarify. Did they say did I hear that the potential board member is the superintendent of their CMO or just a CMO?
A CMO.
Okay.
The potential board member's actual CMO.
Okay, but the potential board member has no current affiliation with you, though?
No,
correct?
not us, no.
Okay.
Commissioner Taylor.
I just had a process question. It might be Chair Walsh or it might be Craig. I'm not sure. So what is the next step with this letter?
So
how does the process work from here, I guess, just from my knowledge, but also the audience's knowledge?
I'll let Craig give it technical, because if I mess up, then he has to explain it again. But it's pretty short.
Yeah, well, it's as you know, this is our recommendation not to ACCS. We make it to the state board. But you have a role here to review that recommendation and to either forward it with your majority approval of that recommendation or not. And then that will be, of course, considered at the state board meeting, and it will be recorded in the state board item itself.
That answer your full question? It's a shorter version I was going to give, so much better. All right. So again, the recommendation from CDE is that the State Board of Education should issue a notice of intent to revoke with notice of fact pursuant to Ed Code or to statute, excuse me. I think part of your question might be, I think Eric Premack stated it, that there's an opportunity for them still by May 7th and 8th when the state board meets to bring other information that might change their mind. So if that's what I thought you were trying to get at. Yeah, they still get an opportunity to correct. As a matter of fact, part of my thought is along that lines that I love the academics and the conversations about the athletics, the students who have come back to share. I think it tells a wonderful story, as Commissioner King mentioned. I just have concerns for so many of the unanswered, especially that audit that hasn't been done yet. I'm still wondering, are those numbers really sustainable? I think it's an amazing program, but the sustainability has me very concerned right now. So I am entertaining a motion, and unless there are further questions, I'd like to ask for that motion.
So moved.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Brazil to forward that recommendation. Do we have a second?
Second.
And a second from Commissioner Jones. All right, and then I will go ahead and take the roll vote.
Before we vote, Commissioner Walsh,
absolutely.
I just wanted to make a statement that I agree with everything you just said, that I think the program seems amazing. The students that are working there, working through the process, the outcomes look amazing. I think this is an opportunity that you all have to share with the state board in a couple of months of that story. And to get all of those documents together is going to be really, really important, because I feel like right now the story is very incomplete, and this is a super hard vote for me. But I'm going to support the staff recommendation that we forward that letter. But it's because there's such a lack of information that was presented to us, and it seems as though there's fiscal mismanagement occurring.
If I could add as well, I want to first of all thank all of the individuals who spoke here today. Your passion and what you have achieved, the results of the academics, all of that are really amazing. And so I really want to urge the leadership to make sure that you have the opportunity now before the board meeting to submit anything that will help and clarify any of the questions, perhaps even that we've had here. And to be in contact with the Department of Ed if you have questions or need assistance, because this is a very difficult decision. It's really not about it's not about the program. I don't think that's, at least I'm not coming from that perspective. It really is just the management and fiscal, because a school to continue to provide has to be fiscally responsible, and I think that's our concern. Mine anyway. Thank you.
And also, Chair Walsh, if I may, I would just like to simply add, I did want to also thank the CDE, because they made a statement in there that there was no assumption of intentionality of the mismanagement. It was just where they currently are. And I think that was incredibly important to note that. And I would just also invite, as I heard Commissioner Walsh and Commissioner Taylor also mention, I highly encourage the school to bring the CFO and to be ready to make an argument about the granular detail of how you plan to work this out in terms of what you plan to do.
And if I can share, this is a very personal issue to me. 8 years ago, I was where you are. I took over a charter school organization that had dealt with similar issues, and literally 8 years to this month was in your seat, Victor. And so I just encourage you to, before the state board meeting, to have as much information as possible down to the granular level of where the money is, where it's going. Enrollment's tough. 215 might be a pipe dream, right? So what can you do at 175? What can you do at 180? Chronic absenteeism is at 50% for your school, right? What can we do if our ADA is at 155? All these type of things, I think, would have given more confidence in the plan going forward. You still have a month to do it, so I would encourage you to just have all these things together so you can present the biggest picture. I feel for you, because I know it's not just the kids, it's the families, and it's also jobs. These are employment situations. But yeah, just to shore up on the details and the answers, I think would be really important.
Well, I think this commission is pretty consistent with their expectations and hopes. So I'm going to go ahead and call for the vote now. Commissioner, again, the recommendation is State Board issue a notice of intent to revoke with notice of fact. We have a motion and a second. So Commissioner Brazil, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Crowe?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner King?
Aye.
Commissioner Park?
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor?
Aye.
And Commissioner Walsh, I vote aye. It is unanimous with recommending the State Board issue a notice of intent to revoke. And again, as this commission has all made clear, we are rooting for you. We think the work that you're doing, and the students especially, everything that everyone has talked about, it's important. And so we do wish you the best of luck. So with that, I am going to adjourn the meeting at 12:14. The next meeting will be Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025 at 10 a.m. Thank you, everyone. Please travel safely.